How are y'all doing out there? Aaron Sampson here with Steve Byers, the voice actor of Nick Rye, and Julien Lamour, translated as Love, who's a game director. We're going to be taking a look at Far Cry 5 Lost on Mars DLC and talking about all of the awesome prep work that went into that.
Of course, yes.
We'll go ahead and jump to gameplay while we talk about the game. But I figured I had you for a little while. We can talk about the fact that we are on Mars looking for Herc's junk, I believe.
Yeah, that's part of it. Definitely.
No pun intended.
No pun intended.
Part of it. Lots of parts. Lots of parts.
So just briefly, like Herc's body parts are scattered all over the red planet.
Yeah, so without giving too much away, whoa, that just happened. So yeah, without giving too much away, so yeah, you've been brought on Mars by Herc. He asks you to save the world. In the process, like when you arrive, actually it's Herc, but it's only his head. And then one of the missions is to actually gather the various pieces, but you're also there again to save the world. So yeah, there's a lot going on, and it's pretty silly.
And I know there was a little bit of a segue from Larry Parker. Last we saw him, he vanished and handed you an awesome alien space weapon.
Yes, so yeah, so for people that are familiar with the Larry Parker mission, it was all about like getting on Mars and through Anne, the AI. So Anne is also playing a very important role in this one. So you'll be actually helping her regain control of herself by depleting some of the enemies arachnids that have been plaguing her.
Steve, I wanted to actually talk to you. So you played Nick Rye, who flew an awesome plane. I know later on you're going to unlock some, like the clustered duck.
Yeah.
Cluster bomb plane, and congratulations on your baby at the end of the game.
Yeah, well, thank you. Yeah, I'm proud.
So, in your preparation for this DLC, did Ubisoft send you to Mars?
In fact, they did. I mean, Ubisoft's got buildings everywhere, as you know, and their latest one is on Mars. So I was able to go up there and be instrumental in sort of setting up their training grounds. Yeah, I mean, it was just like for Far Cry 5. I mean, I spent a year in Montana just, training, hunting animals.
Looking for yetis?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. They're very serious about it. They're method, in fact. Yeah, I had to kill a couple, but...
Yetis are method actors.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I was going to ask if you'd either actually seen a Yeti or watched Harry and the Hendersons.
Actually, there's a funny line in here about Harry and the Hendersons, but I don't want to, I don't want to give too much away. But clearly, Ubisoft is a fan of Harry and the Hendersons.
Well, it's a classic.
Solid franchise.
It is.
Yeah.
For the main game, did they ever make you eat bull testicles?
I mean, I was doing it on my own anyway, so it wasn't really make. It was more like, do you want some more bull testicles? And I was like, absolutely. Yeah. It's a staple at lunch. Yeah.
I mean, that had to have gotten in the original game somehow. There was...
Yeah, bull testicles. I don't know to follow up on that. No pun intended. Wow, you're full of them today, Mr. Love. Yeah, bull testicles. Those are solid lunch staple.
Do you want to talk a little bit more about just sort of your role as Nick Rye and sort of how that ties in from, like, how did we go from Hope County to Mars?
Well, the great thing, I think, that one of the great things that happens in this DLC is we're exploring Herc and Nick Rye's relationship and how, even with the robot. I mean, they're bros, and they're kind of. I mean, Nick Rye is in a reluctant position where he wants to help out his buddy, but his buddy's an idiot, and anybody who can manage to get their body parts lost on Mars, can't be right. So he's constantly in flux where he's trying to help Herc out, but at the same time he just wants to go home. He just wants to go back, and there's a bit of a conundrum too, because it's not just to help Herc. Really, this becomes a mission to save Earth, and there's a higher power that's orchestrating it all, and it becomes obviously the main goal is to save the planet, and then in the meantime get his bits and pieces back together.
Quite literally.
And in the middle of all that, you also have Herc that is starting to develop more and more feelings towards Anne, who's the AI. So you can only imagine the kind of silly dialogues and stories that come out of that.
Does Herc have a favorite body part? I mean, he seems like. Yeah.
I think we can all guess what Herc's favorite body part is.
The robot itself is, that's his torso?
That's his. The robot's his head, right? Essentially.
Well, it's kind
his
of
personality.
Yeah, it's basically his personality. So it's kind of all his conscience has been transferred to that robot. So you do that in the transference center.
So you guys have been doing a series of themed DLCs, which is very interesting. So the last one was Vietnam. This one's also on Mars, and you guys are going to zombies. It feels like this was all kicked off with when you guys did the Blood Dragon DLC.
Well, we do like in Far Cry we like to go crazy and more contrasted with our DLC. Like,
what are you talking about? Crazy?
So like we feel giving very contrasted experience and something that is totally out there yet that is feeding on the core principle of the franchise. Yeah, it's something that we do, and also the teams obviously love to do that because it really changes the dynamic and the features and everything. So yeah, it's something we enjoy doing, and hopefully the fans also appreciate that.
It's a way for you guys to play with the systems in the game in a different way.
Well, I mean, and as a fan of the franchise myself, I mean, when you go to actually play Vietnam versus Mars, it's such a different experience, and so you feel like you're getting, the bits and pieces that make up Far Cry. I'm using bits and pieces a lot, but you ultimately get an entirely sort of new game and a new experience, which, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
Herc's bits and pieces.
Right.
Yeah. There was some speculation around the office about Ubisoft tying their worlds together. Is there does Far Cry tie into any other of the franchises?
Not necessarily. Like, of course, we're having fun. Like, we're a company. We like to help each other and bounce on each other ideas and stuff. But even for this one, there's no real continuity, if you want, within Far Cry. Like, it doesn't happen before or after. It's kind of more an anthology, if you want, than a direct continuity. But yeah, we like to have fun, of course. Whether it's like within the franchise game, within the franchise, like
cheeky throws too.
Yeah.
So Tom Clancy's not going to show up on Mars.
No, he won't.
Never say never. Yeah.
Zombies. So that's the next DLC after this is zombies. Are you going to be involved with zombies? You know,
Nick Rye versus zombies. Nick Rye's scared of everything. I don't know. I mean, I can't see Nick Rye fighting zombies.
It's amazing that zombies are still, like vampires have kind of gone in and out of fashion over the years, but it feels like zombies are just...
the fans are there, definitely.
Always there.
Well, they never die. I mean, zombies never die.
Boom.
Right?
Yes.
Have you managed to, I think you've done some supernatural work on shows.
Yeah.
Have you managed to get in zombie work?
I've been killed by zombies. I've been killed by so many different things. It's ridiculous. But
so you're a zombie now, is what you're saying?
Dude, come on! I told you not to tell everybody. Yeah, I've been killed by zombies. I don't think I've ever become a zombie. It'll happen at some point, I imagine. Maybe a movie of the week. We'll see. One can only hope.
I think we were just discussing on your Twitter feed, you had a show where you're doing some crazy stuff in the vein of Far Cry, like you walked on set with a cat gun.
That's true. Yeah. It's I called it my pistol, but it was an opportunity that arose. I mean, I have a problem because maybe I cross the line too often, but it often makes for good B-roll and outtakes. So that was an opportunity I couldn't let go. And I have jokes there that are inappropriate. I won't make them.
It seems like Far Cry is pretty mature. I mean, in general, like your marketing around Far Cry has been fairly mature. I don't think the kids can get in on this game.
Nope.
Without parental permission.
Yeah.
So what kind of craziness were you able to work into Lost on Mars DLC?
For Nick?
Yeah, for Nick.
Well, the great thing about what I got to do for Nick is that Nick and Herc together are just, I was going to say cluster something, but I don't think I can say that. They're a car accident waiting to happen, because Herc, he just doesn't have a logical way of thinking, and so he just sort of spouts what he thinks, and Nick's always trying to bring him back and reel him in and sort of stay focused on a mission, but at the same time, he's not the brightest bulb in the chandelier either. So at the end of the day, you have these two Mutt and Jeff guys going out there just trying to do their best, but they're bumbling idiots, and so I think that makes the whole thing really work.
And then on top of the writing, like the idea was really to push the boundaries of like silliness and goofiness everywhere. So yeah, of course the dialogue, the acting, even the music. For instance, there's pieces where you're fighting queens, and then we have these kind of rock bands, and then Herc goes on and like, oh, he used to be the roadie on this tour, and he makes joke about that. But we also went, we push it on the feature. So we have a chicken grenade, we have a mortifinator that turns aliens into cows. So yeah, we really went crazy and goofy all over the place.
How large is this DLC compared to Blood Dragon and other DLCs?
Well, so far we're getting like between 5 to 9 hours for people that are playing it. It really depends like how much content you consume. Like, do you just focus on the main mission, or you do a lot of side content to unlock more stuff? And then obviously your playstyle in general. But yeah, 5 to 9 hours is the range we're getting.
And it takes place in, what I've seen so far, the Mars Basin. Is it a new map that you guys created?
Yeah, everything is new. The visual, the asset, the audio. We do have a lot of features. We have a bunch of new arachnids. We have more than 12 new weapons. We have a full suite of new items. So yeah, there's a lot. Like pretty much everything you're looking in this one is new.
What's your favorite item in the game? I know we're playing with the Morphinator here.
Well, the Morphinator definitely would have to be one. It turns arachnids into cow that eventually explode. The chicken grenade is pretty funny too.
That's awesome. The chickenade. I mean, come on.
And just the general weapon, like usually like the Far Cry's are more grounded for obvious reason. In this one we could really go crazier, so we have like a kind of more sci-fi weapon. You have one that like has a guided missile. You have
bunch of punches.
Yeah, well, this one, yeah, the kind of more as a rifle. Like there's a bunch. There's really a lot of different ones. So yeah, it was fun to work on these like more crazy out there toys, if you want.
What is bunch of punches? I haven't gotten that one yet.
It's more kind of an assault rifle, but just also the idea behind the name is that obviously like all the weapons have their own specific name that are more normal or standard, but Herc is kind of tainting everything with his own lingo. So he's renaming all the weapons, he's renaming the object in the world, which again just adds another layer of silliness.
Oh, that's awesome. So the menu is actually from Herc's perspective.
Exactly. Yes. Yes. The shop, the menus. Yeah, exactly.
I feel like in that case, Herc should name it, and then Nick should rename it.
Yeah.
Like they should have.
We're not calling it that.
No. I guess some final questions. So, not to get too spoilery, but where I left Far Cry 5 at the end felt like we got more places to go with Far Cry 5. Are we digging into any of that with DLC, or what? I mean, if you can talk about any of it, where are we going from here? Are we doing silly DLCs? Are we coming back around?
Well, today we were to talk about the Lost on Mars DLC, but we'll see in the future.
But I mean, clearly, when you're on Mars, I mean that's its own baby, right?
Unless these guys all spill back to Earth, or
It's fair enough.
We get zombies, or we open up portals. It could happen.
Yeah, but again, like the idea behind the DLC is really not to be like a direct continuation, but like more these kind of very contrasted and unique experience. So this is definitely like the goal for this one.
So before we close, is there anything else you guys would like to talk about the Lost on Mars DLC?
I mean, for me, I hope everybody that's played through 5, and especially if you've played the Larry Parker stuff and you have a taste for this, it's a satisfying DLC. Like I love that it's just so different from the game. You're not dealing with the cult. You're not dealing with not that you don't want to deal with the cult, but sometimes you just don't want to feel bad about killing something. And you don't have to feel bad about stepping on spiders, right?
I mean, are you saying that they couldn't form a cult?
the cult, or the arachnid cult. I mean, you guys really missed an Easter egg there.
Well, they're kind of cult. Like there's a cult around the Queens which are fighting. They're defending it. So there's some cult vibe if you're really looking for it.
It's the cult of personality.
There it is.
The Queens have the cult of personality. They got that going.
Nice.
Julian, anything else you'd like to talk about with the Lost on Mars DLC?
Well, I hope you guys will enjoy it. It's pretty crazy. We had fun. We really went out there. It's pretty goofy. And yeah, tomorrow, I hope you guys will enjoy it.
All right. So that was Far Cry 5 Lost on Mars DLC out tomorrow for everybody. Yes. PC, Xbox One, PS4. We hope you guys enjoy going to Mars and finding Herc's body parts.
That's right, all of them. Find them all.